Hello friends. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcome in 2024. At Discover Top 10 Places, we love celebrating the freedom to travel, but sometimes geopolitics can get in the way. So let's explore 10 countries that are tough for Americans to visit or move to. Before we start, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Let's dig into the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcome in 2024. Number 10, Venezuela. Venezuela is a beautiful country in South America with the Andes Mountains and Caribbean beaches. However, it has been facing a lot of problems like economic collapse and political issues. The U.S. advises against traveling to Venezuela due to crime, civil unrest, and poor health infrastructure. Americans need a visa to visit, but it's hard to get one because there's no Venezuelan embassy in the U.S. You need to apply through a Venezuelan embassy in another country. Despite its natural attractions like Angel Falls, the current situation makes it a dangerous place to visit. Number 9, Libya. Libya has been in conflict for years, making it unsafe for Americans. The U.S. warns against all travel to Libya due to crime, terrorism, and armed conflict. Tourist visas are not being issued because of the instability, but you can get a business visa. It's important to register your travel plans with the U.S. Embassy if you decide to go. Although the relationship between the U.S. and Libya has improved in recent years, Americans are still being advised against traveling to Libya. This is because the U.S. Embassy in Libya was closed in 2014, leaving no safe place for Americans if they encounter any problems while there. One of the main issues facing Libya currently is that militia groups are kidnapping people and demanding ransom money from their families. If the money is not paid by a certain deadline, the person is killed. It is believed that these groups have infiltrated government agencies, such as the Libyan Coast Guard, which receives funding and training from the EU. This means that these militia members are being supported with resources to continue their acts of terror throughout the country. Number 8, Syria. Syria is another high-risk country due to ongoing war and terrorism. The U.S. strongly advises against traveling to Syria. Getting a visa is very difficult, and you have to apply through a Syrian embassy in another country because the one in the U.S. closed in 2014. Visiting Syria can also cause problems for future travel to other countries. Syria has been at war since 2011, and more than 500,000 people have died, including over 162,000 civilians. As a result, many people have had to leave their homes or seek refuge in other countries. The Syrian government does not welcome Americans because the U.S. is supporting the Syrian Democratic Forces, who are fighting against the Syrian army. The Syrian army is supported by Russia, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen, although there are plans for the U.S. military to leave Syria in the future. No specific date has been set yet. Therefore, Americans are not looked upon favorably by the Syrian government. Number 7, Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan is known for its deserts and ancient ruins, but it's very hard for Americans to visit. The visa process is strict and complicated. You need a letter of invitation from a Turkmen travel agency, and most tourists must book a guided tour. Independent travel is almost impossible. Number 6, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia used to be hard for tourists to visit, but now you can get a tourist visa online. The visa is valid for 1 year and allows multiple entries. Women under 25 need to travel with a family member, but women over 25 can travel alone. Remember to dress modestly and follow local customs. Number 5, Belarus. Belarus is a country that borders Russia to the west and Ukraine to the south. It has been identified as supporting Russia's war against Ukraine, having a large number of Russian military forces within its borders, and enforcing laws in an unfair way. There is also a possibility of civil unrest and people being detained. As a result, the U.S. Embassy in Minsk stopped working in February 2022, making it difficult for Americans living or visiting Belarus to receive assistance from them. Number 4, Somalia. For many years, there has been a war in Somalia that was kept quiet. The U.S. supports one side, the Danab, and has carried out airstrikes for them. This has caused tension not only between the two groups but also against the U.S. from those who support the other side, Al-Shabaab. Unfortunately, Somalia is not a safe country in Africa. In addition to the ongoing war between Al-Shabaab and Danab since 2009, there may be a new conflict brewing for Somalia's government. Ethiopia wants to build a naval base in Somaliland, an area that wants to become its own country, but is not recognized by Somalia. If this plan goes ahead, it could lead to more unrest in Somalia. Because of wars, kidnapping for money, and piracy, the U.S. government has issued a travel advisory level 4 for the region. This means that Americans should not go there, and if they are already there, they should leave right away. Number 3, Yemen. Since 2014, Yemen has been involved in conflict on and off. In 2023, the fighting between the Houthi rebels and Saudi-backed coalition seemed to have stopped, but then war broke out in Gaza. The Houthi rebels supported Hamas during this time. The leader of the Houthi rebels, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, said that if the U.S. sided with Israel in the Gaza war, they would take action. The U.S. did get involved by shooting down Houthi missiles headed to the region. After this, there were attacks on ships in the area, and now fewer ships are using the Red Sea route. This means it takes longer for goods to be delivered, causing concerns about economic problems in other countries because of the Gaza war. Many people in Yemen do not like Americans, so it is not considered a safe place to visit. The government has warned people not to go there by giving it a travel advisory level 4. This is because of the danger of terrorism, kidnapping, and fighting in Yemen. Also, there is no US embassy in the area, so if you go there, the US government cannot help you much. Number 2. Iran. Iran has a lot of historical sites, but it's tough for Americans to visit due to strained relations. You need to book a guided tour and follow a strict itinerary. Independent travel is not allowed. In 2018, the relationship between Iran and the US became tense when the US pulled out of a deal that limited Iran's uranium enrichment program. The situation worsened when former President Donald Trump banned citizens of Iran from traveling to the US, citing safety concerns. With the new administration of President Joe Biden, there was hope that the deal could be reinstated. But that has not yet happened, despite some improvements in relations between the two countries. Travel to Iran is currently not advised for Americans due to the ongoing Gaza war and Iran's support of Hamas. This is because the US cannot provide assistance to those who may face arbitrary arrests, kidnapping, or other dangers while visiting Iran. The current travel advisory level 4 reflects this warning. Number 1. North Korea. North Korea is the hardest country for Americans to visit. The travel ban started after the tragic case of Otto Warmbier, a student who was imprisoned and later died after visiting North Korea. Americans need a special passport to visit, which is only given for specific reasons like journalism or humanitarian work. North Korea and the US have had a difficult relationship for a long time. Things got even more tense when the US, South Korea, and Japan agreed to work together if there were any problems with North Korea or China. The three countries said they wanted to keep peace in the area through this agreement. So far, North Korea has not been friendly towards Americans. If someone accidentally crosses over from South to North Korea, they can end up in prison without knowing when or if they'll be set free. This happened recently when an American soldier crossed the border without permission. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button for more content like this. Share your thoughts about these countries in the comments below.